All right, good morning, West Michigan. It's 9:45 a.m. on this December 4th, 2024. We're going to be taking a look at the significant winter storm that is expected to begin impacting all of West Michigan beginning this evening and lasting through the day on Thursday. This information is updated as of 9:17 a.m. this morning. So this is the latest and most up-to-date information that we have from the National Weather Service, as well as from the own forecast that we've done this morning personally that we're going to be sharing with you here this morning. So again, significant winter storm is expected to begin this evening and impact all of West Michigan with widespread strong winds, heavy snow, and blowing snow. We're looking at the potential for power outages, and dangerous travel is going to be the primary concern for this winter storm across all of West Michigan through the day on Thursday. Looking at the potential for some widespread school closures and maybe even a few business closures as well in the face of this winter storm here. So let's take a look. Overnight, we had winter weather alerts issued, winter storm warnings in effect for all of those counties shaded in the bright pink there, generally along and west of US 131, and then east of US 131, closer to that US 127 corridor, we have a winter weather advisory for all of those counties shaded in purple. Taking a look more closely, for the winter storm warning, again, all those counties shaded in pink there along and west of US 131 are under that winter storm warning through 1 a.m. Friday, and that begins at 5 p.m. this evening. Heavy snow and blowing snow expected. Total snow accumulations of 4 to 10 inches with locally higher amounts possible, and winds gusting as high as 50 miles per hour. Impacts. Visibility is dropping below 1/4 of a mile because of that falling and blowing snow. The potential for strong winds to cause power outages. And then again, travel is going to be our big concern here. So travel could be very difficult, treacherous, and potentially life-threatening. Whiteout conditions are possible, and the hazardous conditions are expected to impact the Wednesday evening and Thursday morning commutes especially, and may persist to impact the Thursday evening and maybe even the Friday morning commutes as well. But again, that big focus is going to be on our Wednesday evening and Thursday morning commute. And again, this is in effect until 1 a.m. early Friday morning. Similarly, for our winter weather advisory, all those counties shaded in purple there. Snow and blowing snow expected. Total snow accumulations of 2 to 4 inches and locally higher amounts possible. Winds gusting as high as 45 miles per hour. Our impacts here are generally going to be the same as the winter storm warning. The only real difference with this winter weather advisory is the amount of snow you're going to receive. 2 to 4 inches rather than that closer to 10-inch mark that was included with that winter storm warning. And then the wind threat is just a little bit less here at 45 miles per hour instead of 50 miles per hour. Only other difference here is going to be this additional details section down at the bottom there. Snow squalls will impact the Wednesday evening commute when visibility rapidly falling below 1/4 of a mile and rapid changes in road conditions. Lake effect snow and gusty winds are then going to develop behind those squalls with a possibility for power outages and hazardous travel conditions. Okay, so if you're in this purple area, this is something I really want you to heed in. We'll talk about this more in a minute, but if you're under this winter weather advisory and you're not under the winter storm warning, please take that with a grain of salt. Please don't just assume that you're going to be okay to drive and okay to go to school and okay to go to work, okay? With this system, the amount of snow that we're going to get, and let's take a look at that, the amount of snow that we're going to get with this is not going to be the primary factor here. So a very heavy snow is expected with this system. If you're east of US 131 there, you're looking at widespread accumulations of 2 to 4 inches. Again, there could be some higher totals in there. And if you're west of US 131 and or along the US 10 and I-94 corridors, you're going to be looking at 4 to 10 inches in those areas. And again, the snow amounts, okay, these new snowfall amounts are not going to be the primary factor of this winter storm. Obviously, they will have some impact, especially if you're in those regions with higher snow totals. But the bottom line is that very strong winds are going to cause the snow to become wind-blown, and that's going to cause widespread blowing and drifting snow and significantly reduce visibilities. And that's our main concern with this system, is those reduced visibilities and the hazardous travel conditions that those create. Taking a look at the wind forecast here, you can see that our highest gusts are expected along the lakeshore, the immediate lakeshore there, ranging from about 45 to 50 miles per hour there. And then as you move further inland along that US 131 corridor, we're expecting 40 mile per hour wind gusts. And then as you get closer to that US 127 corridor, they start to drop off a little bit more. But bottom line, expect wind gusts as high as 45 to 50 miles per hour, especially if you're along the lakeshore there. And these will really begin to ramp up by 5 p.m. this evening. And again, these are going to cause significant blowing and drifting snow, and the potential for scattered power outages is definitely a concern here. When we have those strong winds and cold temperatures, and then especially if you add in those scattered power outages, we really start to worry about the fact that wind chill values are going to be dropping close to 0 degrees Fahrenheit, and we'll have more on that towards the end of the video here. But this is our max wind forecast. Again, anywhere from about 35 to 50 miles per hour. The closer to the lakeshore you are, the higher gusts you're going to see. But a widespread, 40 mile per hour wind gust or two is a safe bet for everyone across West Michigan. So all that having been said, the question might be floating around in your mind, well, why isn't there a blizzard warning if we're talking about visibilities under a quarter of a mile? We're talking about lots of blowing snow, and we're talking about winds well over 35 miles per hour. The problem is that there's that time criteria at the bottom there. So these conditions have to exist consistently for 3 or more hours. So there will probably be some lulls in these snow bands and this blowing snow that will occasionally allow for visibility to improve, for blowing snow to lessen, and maybe even those winds fall below 35 miles per hour at times. So this criteria is probably not going to be consistently met for 3 or more hours, and hence that's why there is not a blizzard warning in effect, and why there is a winter storm warning and winter weather advisories in effect instead. All right. Again, travel impacts are expected. Very dangerous travel conditions. Avoid travel if possible. Beginning this afternoon, you need to be wrapping up your, whatever you need to do for the day. You need to be getting home from work, getting home from school. Whatever it is you need to do this afternoon, you need to get that done, and then you need to be getting home, staying off the roads. By 5 p.m. this evening, 6 p.m. at the latest, we're really going to start to be seeing these travel impacts from the widespread reduced visibility. Okay, definitely going to be looking at blizzard conditions at times today. If you have to travel, you need to have an emergency kit in your vehicle. This is not the type of storm that you want to say, well, okay, I'll be fine. Maybe it's not your driving that causes you to become stranded or causes you to be in an accident. It could be somebody else's fault. It could be nobody's fault. It could just be caused by the weather. Okay, you could get blown off the road. You could run into some ice. Whatever it is, you can't plan for everything. So you need to make sure that you're prepared in case the worst should happen and you get stranded on the side of the road. So having that emergency kit will be a great way to make sure you're prepared to that. But again, the best option here is going to be avoiding travel. And again, it's not about the snow amounts, right? We showed that slide earlier. It's not about those snow amounts. Rather, you're in an area that sees 2 inches or 12 inches. It doesn't really matter. With winds and snowfall rates of this magnitude, there's really not going to be a whole lot of difference in visibilities across the area. So please do not allow yourself to say, oh, well, I'm only in a region that's supposed to get 2 inches of snow. I'm going to be okay. That's probably not the case, okay? Those visibilities are really going to be the primary concern here. Speaking about those visibilities, this is the HRRR computer weather model there on the right side of your screen. It is looping through the modeled visibility forecast. Those areas in white are near perfect visibility, and then all of the areas that are gray are starting to lower, and then once you get into those reds and bright pinks, you are starting to see visibilities under 1 mile. So if you take this loop, we'll wait for it to loop here quickly. So the beginning is coming up right about here. Right, it's resetting. There we go. So that was 5 p.m. That first frame was 5 p.m. So now it's looping through Thursday evening, and you can see pretty consistently that there is a lot of red and pink all over on that map. All right, this is Thursday evening and into Friday morning. So plenty of reds and pink on that map, indicating visibilities under a mile, under a half mile. Okay, whiteout conditions are totally going to happen somewhere in here. It may not be all the time. They may be a little bit more scattered in nature, but they are going to happen. There will be whiteout conditions. Just because there is not a blizzard warning does not mean that blizzard conditions cannot exist, okay? If you have to travel, you need to be using extreme caution. Again, you need to have that vehicle emergency kit in your car. It should include a cell phone charger, a first aid kit, a flashlight, waters, snacks, basic toolkit, a winter hat and gloves. That one is super important. You need to have a way to stay warm. Road flares are a good choice. Jumper cables, fire extinguisher, snow brush, sand or kitty litter to help with traction, blankets to stay warm, tow strap. And then again, another important one, if you have to travel, please fill up your car. Okay, the worst thing is getting on the road in these types of conditions with a half a tank of gas or a quarter tank of gas, and then you run into a pileup on the freeway and you're stuck there for 6, 8, 10 hours while they clear the roadway, and you're obviously running your car because you need to stay warm. Well, pretty soon you're going to run out of fuel, so you need to have that full tank of gas to give yourself the best chance to continue to stay warm in your vehicle. Spare tire and boots and a winter coat are a good option as well. Speaking of those cold temperatures and staying warm, this is a consensus of several models. This is known as the National Weather Service blend, and these are the temperatures that are forecasted over the next 36 to 48 hours. So temperatures are expected to fall into the low 20s and upper teens overnight this evening, and then it's really not going to get a whole lot warmer during the day on Thursday. Highs maybe close to 30 along the lakeshore there, just because the warm waters will help you guys stay insulated over there, but really expect temperatures anywhere from the low 20s, upper teens to low 30s for this entire event. It's really not going to get any warmer than that. Similarly, these are our wind chills. This is that feels like temperature, what it feels like outside when we add in the wind to that cold temperature. You can see there that this model is showing wind chills in the teens, generally under 20 degrees, but dropping as low as single digits for tonight. You can see right here, those are dropping down into the single digits across even the lakeshore areas, okay? And this is a blend of models. So this is taking a whole bunch of different models and compiling it together to give sort of an average or a mean of all the models that this combines. So it is factoring in those models that are showing higher temperatures and higher wind chills. I would kind of ignore those. I would anticipate these readings will be even lower than what this particular model is forecasting, I would definitely foresee some locations seeing wind chills into the negatives overnight tonight. So you're going to need to take steps to stay warm. You need to be dressing in layers. Avoid going outdoors for extended periods of time. With those winds forecasted to be 40 to 50 miles per hour, it's a good idea to think about what you might do if you lose power. If you don't have a generator, you may need to be thinking about how to stay warm. So again, dressing in layers, stuffing blankets and towels in the cracks of the doors in your home to keep as much heat in as possible. Heated blankets are a great idea. And then worst scenario, but especially if you're a vulnerable population member, so if you're elderly or you have underlying illnesses, you need to perhaps be thinking about going to stay somewhere that has a reliable source of backup power, a way to keep you warm. Check on your family and friends during this event, especially once those cold wind chills set in, especially if they are in those vulnerable populations again, especially those people are especially susceptible to these cold temperatures, and hypothermia and exhaustion can set in very quickly in these types of conditions. And then please don't forget your pets and livestock. Okay, they are just as affected by wind chill as we are. During the course of this event, we'd really appreciate if you could send us your reports. We're looking for reports of wind damage, wind speed, or snowfall, as well as reduced visibility are going to be the four main ones for this event. We really appreciate getting those, so if you could send those to us on our website or in the comments on any of our social media posts, that would be absolutely fantastic. We really appreciate that. So that is our update on the significant winter storm that is expected. We hope that this was informative and that you will heed the advice of the National Weather Service and your local officials. Stay tuned to our social media accounts for updates over the next 48 hours. And stay safe. We'll see you on the other side.